Hello, and welcome back to the Jessica Pinelli podcast. It is Happy CEO Monday. I'm recording because this podcast episode just downloaded into my head. I was actually going to do an episode for the business series, but I was like, I feel like I need to get this out and I need to share this with you all because I think it's just going to help so many of you at this time of the year. But even if you're watching this in April, it is going to apply to you and it is going to help you. I always feel that when I get a download when it comes to a podcast episode to record straight away, I actually used to ignore that. And I would write down the idea and sometimes I wouldn't come back to it. Sometimes I would record it, but the energy is always different. So I feel that is also something else I want to share with you. When you have those hits of intuition and hits of inspiration, I really want you to hone in on those. And I think that's going to come in to today's talk with what we're going to be vibing about. And I'm really excited. But yeah, this is your reminder, the things that download and get you so excited and light you up and feel energetic. It's not like a dark kind of heavy feeling. The things that make you feel energetic, those are the little intuitive downloads, the little intuitive drops that you really need to listen to. So, yeah, I'm really, really excited. But before we get started, I just want to say if you are loving the podcast here on YouTube, I would absolutely love if you hit the subscribe button and you press the thumbs up. It really supports the channel and it pushes out these videos to other people on YouTube, other high achieving women that can really benefit from them. And also share it with a friend. If you think your bestie could use today's episode, definitely share it with him or her. And those of you listening on for the podcast, it's so funny because when I first started the podcast, when I would look at my downloads and statistics, it would just be like Apple, iTunes, and Spotify. This was like 4.5, nearly 5 years ago. Now there's 15 different ways to listen to a podcast. So, however you are listening to the podcast, I appreciate you so much. And I would love for you to leave a 5-star review, even a written review if you have the time to do that. Because again, it honestly helps push out the podcast so much. It helps me. And as you've seen over the past 6 to 8 months, I've really been revving it up with my time and energy into the podcast. And so that just helps me. And that just shows me that you guys are loving what I'm speaking about and you're loving the content and it's really resonating with you. And that's the most important thing to me because I can get up a microphone. I'm a Gemini. I can get a microphone and just speak about anything for an hour, 2 hours. This is why I have to be really strict when I do interviews because I could honestly do Joe Rogan style and do a 7 hour podcast episode. But I really want to make sure that it's to benefit you if you're watching here on YouTube or if you're listening via any way that you're listening. So wherever you can, share the love, subscribe, do a review, leave a review, and of course, slide into my DMs. But before we get into today's episode, let's do an angel card pull. I am recording at my dining table because I just felt like it today. I was like, I feel like I just need to have a bit more room to do things. So the card shuffle and pull is going to be a little bit easier to do. Again, another intuitive thing I got, it was like record at your dining table today. And the ego part of me, and this is what happens to so many people, a little side rant for a second. So many people will listen to the ego and be like, well, it's already set up. Like I could have been like, it's already set up in my spare bedroom. The chair's there, the microphone's done, everything's done. Why would I move everything? Like I've moved my box lights, I've attached my microphone differently. And I just probably wouldn't feel that inspired. And you feel when you go against your intuition and you give into your ego, you don't feel that energy. You don't feel that inspiration whatsoever. So, yeah, it feels good. I don't know. It's the smallest change, right? From my second bedroom to my dining table, but it honestly, this builds self-trust. All right. I want you to I'm feeling a 3 card pull today. All right, pick a number 1, 2, or 3. Just breathe into your body, relax your body. 1, 2, or 3, whatever came up first. I want you to stick with that. I don't want you to second guess yourself. 1, 2, or 3. Okay, I'm going to kind of spread and then I'm going to collect and put them. I'm doing it really differently today. Okay, have we got our numbers? 1, 2, or 3. All right. We've got, again, with this, if you're new to this, I don't read from the book of these cards. I will just look at it and kind of give like an intuitive little spill. All right, my number ones. Are we ready? Star mother, how can you mother yourself? So straight away, inner child healing. What are the parts of you that really need to be mothered, that need to be looked after? If you imagine your inner child, it's a little version of you. So what does the little version of you need at this point in time? How can you give that to him or her? And really just nurture. I feel like it's a very nurturing feeling, vibration, and how can you give that more to yourself? And at time of recording, it's November 20th. So we're heading into a festive season. Whether you celebrate or not, it's still busy. It's still a bit chaotic energy. And so this is probably a reminder that you are your number one priority and to focus on mothering yourself. All right, my number twos. We've got dance with life. Do something to change your energy. Oh, I feel like I resonate with this because I've like doing things differently this morning. Even my morning routine was a little bit differently. So, how can you just switch up your energy? How can you do something differently? Like I said, maybe your morning routine is getting up, having a coffee, going to gym. Can you instead like get up, be slower, do your skincare, do your journaling a little bit, have a coffee, do a stretch, and then go to the gym? See, it's like small things you would normally do, but you're just switching up. I like that it's put Dance with Life, and you can see on YouTube here, it's like two women dancing. And maybe this is a reminder to dance, put on music and dance. I do this every day in the morning, most of the time, but I will put on music every single day, have a little dance, have a little sing. Oh, actually, side rant this morning I was watching stories. I think it was Khloe Kardashian stories, and they obviously in the States they have Thanksgiving. All my American listeners and watchers right now in Australia, we don't do Thanksgiving, but it was giving such festive vibes. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to put on a Justin Bieber Christmas song, just see how I feel. Normally I wouldn't till like December 1st, but we have to put up our Christmas tree this week. It's the end of November because we just literally won't have time with travel and things like that. And so I was like, I'll put it on and see how I feel. And so I just danced around to like 5 songs of Justin Bieber's Christmas music, and it felt so good. So this is your reminder, do something to change your energy. And maybe that means listening to some Christmas music. And if you hate Christmas music, any type of music. All right, my number threes. Birthing a new age, birthing new creations, dreaming a new world into being. I feel like we pulled this last week or the week before. So definitely I'm feeling this with a lot of my private clients at the moment, that they're really stepping into a new way of being. What else is coming up for me is a bit of creativity. So again, a little bit of inner child healing for this one as well. And just thinking big. I feel that if you pick number three and you're listening to me right now, you are very scared of what you were thinking about. You're kind of scared of the things you want to create or what you want to go after. And it's giving you a little bit of fear, but I want you to go after it. I want you to start now. I'll talk a little bit more about this in the episode, but I don't want you to think, I'll start in the new year. I'll start. No, I really want you to start now. So my one, twos, and threes, I hope that resonated. I hope you enjoyed that. Again, if you love that, let me know in the comments. Let me know, slide into my DMs, tag the podcast if you're loving the card pulls. I'm loving it. I was going to change the deck today, but again, lots of intuition today. It was like, no, keep the same deck. And you obviously all needed to hear these. That was beautiful. Let's get into today's episode. We're going to be speaking about manifestation. I'm just getting my phone up because I just made some notes so I wouldn't skip anything whatsoever because it can be easy. Now, I do want to preface this episode by saying these are things that you have probably heard before when it comes to manifestation. These are things that you have probably, you've saved TikToks, you've saved Reels, you've saved posts like carousel, swipe across, you listen to other podcast episodes. I know I have done a few on manifestation, but I really just wanted to do an updated version. To embrace kind of the energy where we're at, the collective energy, and when you're where you are at. I'm seeing a lot of people redo their vision boards at this time of year. I have recently redone mine. I'm seeing a lot of people, writing out their goals and intentions. I think it's really important to note that manifestation is, yes, it can be seen like this spiritual woo woo thing, but it's also is a very practical thing. We are manifesting every single day. we are manifesting with everything we are doing. The thoughts, our behaviors, our reactions, we are bringing in more of that. Like attracts like. This is law of attraction. So, if you're acting a certain way, if you're thinking a certain way, you are going to be on that vibrational frequency because everything is matter. We are made of atoms, we vibrate at a certain frequency. And so, if we are on a frequency for a long period of time, we are going to bring more of that in. And something I said to my one on one client this past week was the 80/20 rule. I've definitely made a podcast episode on this. So just scroll a bit. It was a few months ago, but I'm pretty sure it's called 80/20 rule. Basically, what you want to think about is 80% of your day and week is in the vibration, in what you want to bring into your life. That's 80%. And the other 20% is called being a human being. I think sometimes people believe that manifestation or thinking positively or wanting to attract more money or a relationship or a dream career, business, house, apartment means you just need to be positive 24/7. And if you've ever tried to be happy for like 3 days straight, it's fucking exhausting. I don't recommend it at all. I recommend just being a human being and experiencing your emotions. So, this requires the 80/20 rule. This is kind of like a pre step before I go into what I want to share with you. But the 80/20 rule is just how are you reflecting on your day and your week to reflect the 80/20. And if you have two bad days, that's absolutely fine, but it is up to you. You are in control of your life. Again, I think this is something that people believe that they're not, that external factors like the government and the economy and what's happening on the street, what's happening on someone's social media, what's happening in your family dictates and prescribes to you how you need to act and how you need to be. It doesn't. You get a choice. If your family is pushing for something or your family has a perspective of something, and you choose to act in accordance with that and take that on board, that is absolutely up to you. If you are hearing things like maybe you watch the news, like I can't tell you the last time I watched the news. Even if it's on social media, I scroll past it. I can't tell you the last time I listened to a radio. Um, but if you are someone who does, number one, I'd kind of reflect on those actions because the media has been created to instill fear. The radio frequency as well is not on a very nice frequency that we want to be on. But if you are someone that prescribes to that, that is how you are going to act in accordance and you're choosing that. I actually edited, I'm going on a full tangent, but just stick with me. It all has a purpose for this episode. I edited a TikTok this morning that I posted. I filmed it last week, just forgot to edit it. And I was stitching someone on TikTok who was complaining about the prices of something in one of the supermarkets. I think it was Coles here in Australia. I basically said that most people are going to prescribe to a mentality that is fear based, to a mentality that is very victim mentality. You may be listening to this and this may be very triggering for you because you may be like, well, I can't find a rental at the moment or I can't do this at the moment. And you're lucky. And the amount of times I've had that, like, you're lucky. But this is the thing, you get to choose exactly how you are responding. Does it mean that you can't have a shit day? No. I tell all of my clients, whether they're my one on one or whether they're in my group containers, I tell them all to embrace their shitty days. I tell them all to embrace the low vibrational emotions and process that. A lot of what I see taught is about spiritually bypassing. Another one on one client sent me this reel that had gone very viral, and it was a bunch of questions, journaling questions. And I said to my client, you are beyond this. I would give some of these to someone who's just starting personal development, but for the most part, you're beyond these. So let's expand these more. And that's what I want you to do is expand the way you're living, expand the way you're thinking about your life. If you are in a situation that you do not like, and today we're going to go into the bit of a woo woo when it comes to this, but just know you are absolutely in control. And I say this with love because I was someone for many, many years, in my 20s, many years, where I was like, I'm a victim and like life is so fucking shit and everyone has it easier. And so I repeated those cycles. So I do understand. I know what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck. I know what it's like to struggle to find somewhere that you can call a home. I know what it's like to attract very toxic, tumultuous relationships, to be in a job that you don't like. I've lived it all. I understand. But now is the first step. And if you're listening to this, for you to take absolute control of the way that you think, and the way that you're mastering your emotions when it comes to the way you're living, and it changes your reality. And this is exactly what we cover in Will Mastery Mastermind, which begins in January. Applications are open. All of the details are in the show notes in both YouTube and both the podcast. And this is what it is. You want to change your reality. You want to change currently where you are and what you're attracting. It's two things. It's changing the way you think, your subconscious patterns, and being able to manage and regulate your emotions. You learn those two things, which feeds into your identity, which is your reality. Will mastery is woman mastery. And this is what this is. You will master your life. You will absolutely change your entire reality. So if this is hitting home and this podcast episode by the end, you're like, yep, I need to make a change. I'm ready for the support. It's not for newbies. It's for you if you have been doing this work for a little while. But definitely, if you want to know if this is the right fit for you, slide into my DMs at Instagram at Jess Pinili. If not, just apply. And hopefully, I see you inside Will Mastery Mastermind. But let's talk about the 4 steps that I'm just getting up my phone when it comes to manifestation, right? We're going to have a bit of woo woo, we're going to have a bit of practicality. I could have definitely fleshed this out into like 6 or 7 steps, but I wanted to really, really simplify it. Now, I just want to say these have pretty much been the same for the past few years for me. I may have said them in a different way, I may say them better now, but as you learn, this is one of the things of the podcast, you can listen to a podcast episode that I've done this month and compare it to one I've done 4 years ago. I've grown as a person. My knowledge, my education has grown as well. And that's why I always do updated versions of important topics, because it's important to share my findings and to see how I'm evolving and growing as a podcast host, as a coach, as a mentor, and just as a woman, as an individual. So I've simplified this. I've kept it to 4 steps for manifesting and bringing into what you want in your dream life. Number 1 is to get crystal clear. Again, you've probably heard it a million times. Every single manifestation tool out there says get clear, but this is probably the step that most people struggle with the most, and most people don't actually stop. They say fluffy bullshit like, I want more money, or I want a nice house, or I want my soulmate, or I want a business, online business, or I want to be the CEO of a company. That's a start, but it's really, really fluffy. You need to get very, very clear on what you want to bring into your life, because remember, whatever you are getting clear on, whatever you fixate on, and as we go into the next steps, you'll see how they all kind of blend together. But whatever you are focusing on, that's what you're going to receive. And I've seen so many cases where women have said stuff like, I want to bring this into my life without clarity, and they brought it into their life technically, but it's not how they envision. It's not how they really wanted to bring into this life. I see this actually happen a lot when it comes to romantic partners, of saying, yes, I am ready and I want to attract my newest boyfriend. And then a guy comes in and they get into a relationship, and it's just that person's not hitting the spot. It's just not a good match. This is because we need to get crystal clear, right? A side note when it comes to relationships, if you haven't already written in your journal like all the specifics of the person you want to attract, you need to do that. I did this before my partner, like I think like a year and a half before my partner, maybe even 2 years. It might have been longer. And I think like honestly, like 98% of that list he has ticked off. One was like so specific. It was like, he must know how to talk another language. And my partner, David, he knows how to speak fluent Polish. So that was like such a specific thing. And see, like, you need to get really, really clear when it comes to the money that you want to bring in. Don't just, everyone wants more money, right? Let's be real. We all fucking love money. Money brings us opportunities, money brings us experiences. But I also need you to get clear. What money? Are you welcoming new money in the form of a bonus? Is it more clients in your business? What is it going to pay off? What does that look like? How do you reverse engineer that? If you tell me in your business you want to make a 10K month, okay, so break it down, reverse engineer. $10,000 is in your account today. What's the tax you need to pay on that? What are your outgoings for your business? What's your rent or your mortgage you need to pay? What are, the food shopping and the electricity bill, all of those things. And then look at where you're at. with that amount of money. And a lot of people just, and I used to do this, so I completely understand, but just pull a figure out of their ass and expect it to come into fruition. If you're not crystal clear, I'm not saying that you won't get that 10K, but I'm just saying it may not be in the way that you envision. You could win a trip that is to the value of 10K. And even though you in your reality, you're like, fuck yeah, a trip, but you're still like, I'm still manifesting $10,000. The universe has gone, well, you didn't get clear. You just had $10,000. So we're giving you a trip that's a value to $10,000 when you went into that competition 3 months ago. See what I mean? I hope that I'm making sense of this, but I really want you to get crystal clear. And this is the first step. And like I said, it may seem like the most obvious when it comes to manifesting what you want in your life, but it's the step that so many people just forget. And then they complain or they say manifestation's not working, it's taking long. Then they lose momentum. They take their foot off the pedestal and there's no more momentum. And they get into the spiral. And instead of being 80% in the vibration they want, they're in 80% of the vibration they don't want and 20% of the higher vibration. So get very super specific and clear on exactly what you want to bring into your life. And you know what I like to put in that too? Like, why do I want to bring this amount of money into my life? Or why do I want to bring this person into my life or this job or this business or, this dream body? Like, okay, you're manifesting losing 5 kilos. Like, what does that mean to you? What is, what do you perceive is going to happen? What is that you're chasing after? This feeds nicely. These are kind of like in order, but it doesn't mean that you can't do them in different orders. But my number 2 step is see it and feel it as it is already yours. The brain, subconscious mind, does not know the difference between what is actually happening and what is actually fake. This is why visualization is so key. This is why being able to sit in the feelings of already having it. When I'm bringing in manifestations, I will never ever say things like, I can't wait to have, or that, oh, I will have that. I will speak in the language of, it's already mine. So I'll give you a personal example. We're looking at a couple of different apartments. We're in no rush. We're still under lease, but if the right one comes up, we will 110% be breaking lease. I have a vision and there is a certain building. There's 2 buildings I actually have my heart set on, but I'm speaking in the way as if it's already ours. Like when David and I go to view it, I'll say, oh, okay, like the couch could go this way. And I'll say stuff like, oh, the clothes will go in the cupboard like this. See how speaking, like we already have that. And this is a powerful thing because, like I said, our subconscious mind doesn't know what has happened and what hasn't happened. And so the visualization, speaking as if it's already in existence, it's absolute key. And that's how our 3D physical reality catches up to that. However, the caveat to that is the feeling part. You can speak like a billionaire. You can speak like you have the mansion. You can speak like you have the 6-figure a month business, all you like. But if that is done with the feelings and emotions of fear, of no trust, the feelings of this isn't true, or lack or scarcity, you're just going to cancel it straight away. And once you do step 1 of getting really, really clear, people struggle here because it's like I can speak and act as if I'm a rich millionaire or whatever it may be, or whoever you envision, but you really have to attach the feelings to that. You really have to think, if I had this $10,000 month in my business, like it happened today, how would I really feel and how would I be acting? If I had that dream apartment today, what are the things that I would be doing? Even something I did on the weekend. I thought, if I applied for an apartment and we got accepted tomorrow, what would I be doing? I was asking myself this on the weekend and I started to clear the space and do things that I would already be doing if we were moving out the week after. And so this again energetically signals to the universe, I'm ready. That's also one thing. I've shared this on a podcast before, but one thing, when I was declared I was ready for a partner, I started just to clear my life. Like, do I actually have space to have date nights on a Friday? Do I have space like in my cupboard if they want to stay here and bring some stuff? Do I have space with the things I'm doing with my clients or my friends? Like, how am I setting myself up mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually when it comes to this? And that's what you need to envision, pairing it with the feelings. If you're sitting there and hoping for a certain amount of money and saying, I am a millionaire in the mirror 1,000 times, it is absolutely not going to work unless you are feeling like it has happened and you're closing the gap. I know a lot of people listening to this are going to go, okay, but Jess, what if like my reality is so far from the reality I desire? This is where we feed into step number 3. Is your mindset on board? You need to bring that subconscious mind, and this is actually a huge section of Will Mastery Mastermind: subconscious reprogramming, subconscious patterns, why you are the way you are, and how to neurologically change them. So, again, we're going to be going into depth inside of Will Mastery Mastermind about this and how to actually effectively change your reality, because we've all been there, right? Where we've got the feeling, we've got the vision, we know what we want, we've got the motivation, and then all of a sudden we start to self sabotage, or we start to attract things that we're like, hey, I'm doing all the work. And this is because of the way that you are thinking. This is because maybe not consciously, but this is because of the way that you are subconsciously on autopilot. Your subconscious patterns of thoughts are what is driving the ship. If you look at an iceberg, down below is the 95%. That's the subconscious mind, right? This is psychology overall. The 5% is our conscious mind. So you need to actually take hold of the 95% of that iceberg. And that, again, that's what we're doing in Will Mastery Mastermind. But what I will say today is you need to get your mindset on board. And the best way that you can do that is to start looking for evidence of the things that you want already exist and they are a reality. As I've been this year really focusing on expanding my capacity to bring in and hold more wealth, I am looking for evidence, not only getting around people, but I'm looking for evidence that this is a very real thing. I have very, very big goals for the next couple of years. And if I wasn't getting my mindset on board, it would freak me the fuck out. And I would be in just circles of doubt all of the time. And the reason I'm not is because I'm constantly seeking out, it's like confirmation bias. I am trying to confirm my bias of these goals that I've set for myself. And the more that I see it in actual reality and I seek it from the people on social media, the people in my life, from different avenues, like literally seeking it, watching people on YouTube that have this, again, the inner critic in you, the ego in you may be like, yeah, but people on the internet, you don't know what's fake. That's not what's real. That's fine. But can you use it to your advantage to expand yourself? Right. And, if you're listening to this podcast, you know how to listen to what's feeling congruent with who you want to be and what you want to attract. But getting your subconscious mind on board, being able to reprogram it in your favor so you can feel into, okay, I've got $5 in my bank account, but I want to be a millionaire within the next 3 years. Look for the evidence that that is a thing, but look in the small steps, right? What are the synchronicities? What are the things that you are seeing on the internet? Everything is abundant, whether it's money, job opportunities, business opportunities, relationships, health, wellness, anything. When you reprogram your subconscious mind, that 95% of the iceberg, it starts to operate in a way that favors you. And that's why this mastermind is now my key signature. I can't speak. I'm so excited about it. My key signature way to work with me moving into 2024, because you want to change your reality. You want to change what you're bringing in and who you are. The part of it is changing the way you think and changing your subconscious patterns. And if you aren't getting that on board, you can say 1 million positive affirmations a day. You can meditate 50 times a day. You can do the mirror work, you can do the EFT tapping, you can do everything. EFT tapping is a little bit different because that is like I guess a part of reprogramming, but you can do all the self-care routines and rituals, read all the books, listen to all the podcasts, listen to this podcast a million times over and motivate yourself. But if you're not getting that subconscious mind on board and in alignment with what you want to think, and last week's episode, the last episode to this was all about how can we start to shift that. So definitely go and refer back to that episode. I go into a bit more depth on that, but that would be the third set is your mindset on board with who you want to be and what you're bringing into your life. Now, the last one, like I said, I really wanted to make this kind of like a condensed list that could easily be expanded, but I really think these are the most important things. The last one is take 1% of messy inspired action every single day. The 1% is going to look different between the days. Like, if you have a low vibrational day, maybe your 1% is 15 minutes of work, but you're still putting something in. And on the better day, maybe it's 15 hours work, right? But like that is just like a wild example, but you know what I'm saying is every single day you need to be putting in that messy inspired action towards your goals, towards your manifestations, towards who you want to be. Because if you're not, and what I see, a big form of self-sabotage is actually not doing this work, starting to gain momentum, and then the moment there's momentum gain, taking your foot off the pedal and putting that action in. Action needs to be every day. I don't give a fuck if it's a weekend. I really, really don't. I want you to start to realize that to get to where you want to be, to close the gap between who you are now and who you desire to be, and to change your reality, you need to be like this gap. I'm showing it here on YouTube, but just imagine I'm holding up my hands on my podcast listeners. To close that gap, you need to fill it with the things that are truly going to move you into who you want to be and your manifestations. And again, when we've got our mindset on board, when we're feeling into it and truly acting like it is mine, like I feel it deep inside of me. And one point on that too, if you have these visions, or if it's dropped into your mind and you're like, oh, that I can see myself, it is meant for you. I have these very, very vivid visions. I have about between three and five very vivid visions that I've had for most of this year. And it is me. It is future me. I can wholeheartedly, like I can even see them in my head now as I'm recording it. I can actually feel it in my heart space. It is my future self. My future self has quite literally given me these visions. And this is the thing, I'm not going to get to those visions if I'm not doing anything. You can't just see a vision and be like, ah, it's meant for me. I'm going to make it there. No, it's those visions drop in because it's like, oh, okay, whatever path you're on, whatever you're doing right now, it's working. So keep doing it, keep doing what you're doing, and keep the momentum and keep it up. Keep that messy inspired action. Be very, and to step one, be very, very clear and specific about what you want and what you desire. So just reading off my list for the 4 steps to bring in your manifestations to start to think about as we come to the end of the year. But again, doesn't matter when you're listening or watching this. Number 1, get very crystal clear on what it is you desire and what you want to bring into your life. Like crystal clear. If you were to send me the list of what you want to manifest, I should be able to just paint a very vivid picture of exactly what you're bringing into your life. Number 2, see it and feel it as it's already yours. It's happened. Again, if you can see that, you can envision that, you're having those visions. It's like, that's so Raven. I hope majority of you get that reference from Disney Channel. That's so Raven. She used to have visions. If you don't know, just TikTok it. But that's what we want, right? If you can have that, it's a part of you. But you really, yes, you can act all you want, and that's amazing. But you need to have the feeling that backs that up. It's like if you're making a brick wall and you're just placing the bricks on one another, it's going to be very rocky, right? It's going to stand up because they're solid. And this is what happens if you act like it, but it's going to be very shaky. It's going to be very solid. So, what's the cement? The feeling. I love that analogy that I just came up on the spot. I'm going to do an Instagram story about that later. An analogy, right? But literally, you're acting as if and believing it's yours are the bricks, but without the cement, which is the feeling. It's going to be rocky. It's going to be all over the place. It's probably going to fall down at some point, right? And you're going to lose momentum. Number 3, is your mindset on board? Is your subconscious thoughts and patterns, are they on board with who that is you want to become, who you desire to become? You desire to become a millionaire in your business. Is your mindset on board with that? Or are you still stressing the fuck out about that $5 coffee you paid for on last weekend? Is your is your mindset really on board with you getting that promotion, or are you still scared about speaking to your boss when you want to get promoted to, I don't know, CEO, CFO, and you have to do board meetings with lots of big bosses? You can't be living in the past. You can't be living in an old version of you to bring in a new reality. You just absolutely can't. And I know this may sound a bit blunt, but you cannot be living in your old reality if you're expecting a brand new one. And then the fourth step, messy, inspired action. Every single day. I don't care what it is. I just want it to move the needle towards where you are going. And just know change is dysregulating. It scares the body, it scares the mind. So, yes, there are going to be the self sabotaging tendencies that come up, but this is where we work on the past three things. And like I said, if you're really getting stuck with that mindset and how you're tapping into that feeling, like maybe you're sitting here and you're like, I just cannot tap into it because I have no money in my bank account, or, I've just dated 10 toxic men, or every single job that I apply for, I get rejected for. Whatever it may be, come into a mastery mastermind. This is what we will exclusively be going through. And I got a question about who is it for? It's for women. The main criteria is you have to have been doing personal development for at least 2 to 3 years. It's absolutely not for newbies. A mastermind experience is we all learn and support and grow each other. It's not just me mentoring you or coaching you. We are all learning from one another. So you need to have some knowledge when it comes to self development, personal growth, all of that. It is for business owners, it is for network marketers, it is for my mums out there. You want to give a bit more love to yourself and do something for yourself in the new year. It is for all my girlies that are really just looking to get to that next level of their life, and you're feeling a little bit stuck and stagnant at where you currently are, and you just don't know where the next turn is. You don't know what the next thing is that you need to do. It is absolutely for you. Applications are below from this recording, but I hope that you've gotten so much out of this podcast episode. I hope it's really helped to frame your mind differently when it comes to manifesting and bringing in things that you truly desire. And I appreciate you so much. I will speak to you next podcast episode. Bye.